Motivation is one of the most crucial aspects to going pro in Fortnite, yet many players struggle with it. Let's do a comprehensive breakdown on motivation, how to get it, and how to maintain it. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's define motivation in terms of playing Fortnite. Motivation, in my opinion, is the ability to play the game of Fortnite consistently over a long period of time. Many players may get motivated for a week or two and put in crazy hours, but it isn't sustainable to actually go pro in the long term. There's a saying, the brightest candles burn the quickest, and this can bring us to our first point. Pace your start. It is extremely important that you don't overdo your grind when you get a crazy amount of motivation to grind. Start with an amount of playtime that is way below what you can actually do and slowly work your way up to more playtime per day. By doing this, you're allowing yourself to actually maintain a grind over a long period of time instead of just a few weeks. I asked my Twitter, what do you think makes someone a pro player? And I really like this response from Soggy, literally just persistence. Becoming a pro isn't something that happens overnight. It is a long process that looks like small 1% improvements every day that slowly add up. Pacing your start is very beneficial towards maintaining your motivation, but how can you increase your motivation on a day-to-day basis? The answer to this is in 3 places: diet, exercise, and sleep. Let's talk about sleep first. Making sure you get at least 7 hours of sleep a night is pivotal for motivation. When you are tired, you are more likely to fall into some impulse, which is likely not going to be productive and efficient practice. Next, let's talk about diet and exercise. Making sure you have a good diet is pivotal for motivation in the long term because having a good diet keeps you healthy, and one of the largest factors to motivation in your life is health. The same thing applies to exercise, as exercise keeps you healthy and motivated, but exercising also gives you an energy boost that can support you throughout the day. When it comes to diet and exercise, you don't need to go all in, but generally improving your health will provide dividends on your motivation in the long term. Now that we've covered the earlier stages of motivation, let's look at some issues that may affect you later on in your journey to becoming pro. Burnout. Many players might feel burnt out after long periods of grinding, and there isn't really a great solution to burnout except for taking a little break, but there are many things that we can do to help prevent it. Players talk about friend groups all the time and how beneficial they are, but they almost always miss out on one crucial benefit of friend groups, and that is that they reduce burnout. Being able to talk with other people who are just as dedicated as you are to going pro helps a ton with improving motivation and maintaining it over long periods of time. Next, let's talk about the work you're actually putting in. If you're burned out, it is very likely that there's some aspect of the game that you don't enjoy, but you feel like you need to do in order to go pro. What I recommend is actually go and write out a list of what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy about trying to go pro in Fortnite. From here, take the things you don't enjoy and find ways to enjoy them or make your practice more efficient in them. For me, the 2 areas that were in my do not enjoy section were solo arena and aim training. I took an actual look at both of these and I asked myself, how can I improve these areas of my practice so they are more tolerable and sustainable over a long period of time? For aim training, I decided to switch from Kovacs to aim dueling in game. This gave me more of a sense of competition and kept me more engaged in aim training. For solo arena, there isn't a comparable replacement like there is for aim training, but what I did instead is I played less solo arena but made the practice more intentional, and I would go and VOD review my deaths afterwards instead of autopiloting solo arena over and over and over again. These are just the examples I use, but I highly encourage you to think about how you can make certain areas of practice more fun and enjoyable, because if you are relying solely on your conscientiousness to get you through the difficult parts of practice, you are highly likely to fail. The final key thing that leads to burnout is a lack of reward. If you practice really hard, it might feel demotivating to place poorly in a tournament, but what many players fail to understand is the actual time it takes to go pro. If you grind for a month or 2, you will see huge improvements, but likely not enough to be actually placing at a pro level, and you need to understand that one bad tournament doesn't mean you can't place in the future, but stopping your practice because you think you can't place will become a self-fulfilling prophecy that will stop you from going pro. Now that you know how to start with your motivation and keep it going for a long period of time, the only thing you can do is start grinding and make a name for yourself.